Good morning to one and all. This is Lavanya, Assistant Professor in the Department of CSE, Tech Multitech, Dr. Rangarajan, Dr. Sakunthala Engineering College. Today we are going to discuss about the exception handling in Java. My topic is exception handling in Java. Errors. An error is an unexpected result obtained from the program during the execution. Unhandled errors may manifest themselves incorrect results or behavior or as an abnormal program termination. Errors should be handled by the programmer to prevent them from the reaching the user. When we are programming, before going to the user usage, we have to identify some errors and we have to handle it in our program. So error is an unexpected result. We are coding for certain task. When we are getting the results which is not what we expect, this is called an error. Types of errors are three types. One is syntax error, runtime errors, and logical errors. Syntax error arises because the rule of languages have not been followed. They are deducted by the compiler. The syntax error is nothing but this checking the structure of the specific language. When we are talking about Java, it has some structure. If it is not correct in our program, then it will called as syntax error. The compiler will notify this type of error and intimate to us. Runtime errors occur while the programmer is running in the environment, detects the operation that is impossible to carry out. The runtime errors are the programming errors, the wrong input when we are declaring some variables as the integer, we are try to get the values in double. So like that errors are called as runtime error. These errors are not carried out by the syntax errors. Then the errors only will be created at the runtime errors. The compiler will not check this type of errors. It's not possible also. Logical errors occurs when the programmer does not perform the way it was intended to. So when we are creating some logics, the results we are obtaining is not satisfied our logic is called as logical error. Types of exceptions. Types of exception. Checked exception. A checked exception is an exception that is checked or notified by the compiler. The checked exception is also comes under the syntax error because the compiler itself identifies the structure of the program. If any errors, it will be notified. During the compilation time is called as compile time exception. This exception cannot be simply ignored. The programmer should take care of this, handle these exceptions. We are giving the example for handled exceptions. Checked exceptions. If we are trying to get the file or read the file which is not available in the directory, file not found error will be created. So for that, I am written some code here. Header files, main functions. We am creating as a file as an object. So I am trying to get the file.txt file in the reader mode. So which is not available in our directory. The methods read and close of the file reader class throws the IO exceptions. We are using the methods read and close to read the files. So file reader throws the IO exceptions. We can observe that the compiler notifies to handle it. So it will create file not found exception in the above code. Unchecked exception. Unchecked exception is also called as the runtime exceptions. An unchecked exception is an exception that occurs at the time of execution. These are all called as runtime exception. These include the programming bugs such as logical errors or improper use of API. Logical errors and improper use of API. Runtime exceptions are ignored at the time of compilation. The compiler will not also notify the runtime errors. Example for the runtime error is if you have declared an array of size 5 in our program and try to call the sixth element of the array, then an array indexed bound exception will occur. So this error will not be identified by the compiler. So example, header files, we are declaring the array number of with 4 elements, but system.out.println, we are trying to get the 5th element, but we are declared only the 4 elements. So then the exception handles array indexed bound exceptions, array indexed out of bound exceptions. So errors, these are not the exceptions at all, but the problem arises beyond the control of the user or the programmer. Errors are typically ignored in the code because you can rarely do anything about an error. Errors are typically ignored your code because you can rarely do anything about an error. For example, if a stack overflow occurs, an error will arise. They are also ignored at the time of compilation. The error will not be notified by the compiler. It is only notified at the time of running. When the stack is full, we try to insert the new element, then the stack overflow will occur. An error will arise in the ignored at the time of compilation. So Java exception keywords are try, catch, finally, throws. The try keyword is used to specify a block where we should place exception code. So when we are trying to handle some checked exception, then the try statement will be used. The try block must be followed either catch or finally. So we cannot use the try block alone. Catch block. The catch block is used to handle the exception. It must be preceded by a block, which means we cannot use catch block alone. It can be followed finally block later. The finally keyword block is used to execute the important code of the program. It is executed whether the exception is handled or not. Throw. The throw keyword is used to throw an exception. That is, our checked exceptions, the prediction will be given into the throw. So throws, the throws keyword is used to declare the exception. It does not an exception. If the space occur, an exception method. It also used as the method signature. So this is the some example for the try catch blocks. So catch the exception and declaring the exceptions throws the exception. This is some structure of declaring, throwing and catching the exceptions. So we are going to declare the error and catch the error, and how we are going to throw these exceptions. Declaring exceptions. Every method must state the type of checked exception it might throw. This is known as declaring exceptions. Every method must state the type of checked exceptions it might throw. This is known as declaring exception. Public void my method throws IO exceptions. Public void my method throw the IO exception and other exceptions. So we have to declare these exceptions. Throwing an exception. When a program detects an error, the program can create an instance of an appropriate exception type and throw it. This is known as throwing an exception. When the program detect the error, it may be a syntax error or it may be a runtime error. Then the throw exception can create the instance of appropriate exception type. Throws new the exception. The exception we can create the object. Then we will throw the error. For example, for the throw keyword, public set radius double new radius throws illegal argument exceptions. When we are giving the radius of the circle or some other radius, it must be a positive value only. That means it is greater than or equal to 0, not in the negative value. When we are giving the negative value, it may be occur. The user did not know the value. If they given the negative value, then that exception will be catched in the case of illegal argument exceptions. So here we are using the throw new illegal expression. Radius cannot be negative. Radius cannot be negative. This is the example for throwing functions. Catching the exception. Try, statements, exceptions. And then try block will be followed by the catch. Catch, exception, variable. Any number of catch statements can be created. For example, in the process of ATM withdrawal, we can give many number of try catch statement from the starting itself. When we are inserting the card, if they can insert in the wrong way, that has to be catched. Insert the card in proper way. If they are putting a pin number wrong, then there will be some catch, and they are entering the amount which is not their limit. That is also an exception. So for each and every application, many number of exceptions can be created, and each exceptions are the carry out with the objects. Java defines several types of exception that relate to its various class libraries. Java also allows users to define their own exceptions. Not only the predefined exceptions which is available in the Java libraries, as a user, as a programmer, we can also define our own exceptions. So the Java exceptions are divided into two types. One is built-in exceptions, in another one is user-defined exceptions. Built-in exceptions are the exceptions which are available in the Java libraries. These exceptions are suitable to explain certain error situations. The list of important built-in exceptions are the arithmetic expression, null pointer exceptions, single string index boundary exceptions, file not found exceptions, number format exceptions, array out of boundary exceptions, class not found, file not found, IO exceptions, interrupted exceptions. These are all the some built-in exceptions which is available in the Java libraries. So string out of boundary, array out of boundary, the string statement will be ended with the null pointer, or the string contain only the character with 6. We can go and print the 7th character, then it will tends to the string character. In the same way, the array boundary exceptions, when we are declaring the array size with the some value, when we are getting the value which is not described by us, it is called as array out of boundary exceptions. So class not found, when we are not creating, or when then the cases of the classes will be different, then the class not found exceptions will be catched. File not found, this example we saw seen in the starting. So file not found exceptions, and IO exceptions. IO exception, this thrown when an input and output operation failed to interrupt, failed or interrupt. Next one is the interrupted exceptions. It is thrown when a thread is waiting, sleeping, some processing, it is interrupted. This is called the interrupted expressions. No such field exception. No such field exception. It is thrown when a class does not contain the field or variable specified. The variables, the fields which we are going to use is declared in the class itself. So when we are not trying to when we are getting the variable or function which is not declared in the class, then no such field exceptions will arise. No such method. It is thrown when accessing a method which is not found. Next one is the runtime exception. This is represents an exception which occurs during the runtime. These are all the built-in exceptions. These are all predefined and saved in the Java libraries. User-defined exceptions. Users can also create the exceptions which are called user-defined exceptions. As a programmer, we can protect our program based on the user's operations. The user should create an exception class as a subclass of exception class. Since all exceptions are subclass classes of exception class. The user should also make his class as a subclass of it. Class my exception, extend the exceptions. So when we are creating the user defined exceptions, we have to extend the class from already available in the Java exceptions. A default constructor in its own exception class is my exception. A parameterized constructor with a string as a parameter. We can use this to store the exception details. We can also call the superclass exception constructor from this and send the string there. My exception string. The string content will be saved in this super string. To arise the exception user defined types, we need to create an object to is exception class and throw it using the throw class. My exception is equal we are creating a object in the my exception method throws me. User defined exceptions, class invalid age exception, extend the exceptions. So when we are filling some online forms, they given the year limit or age limit to apply that applications. When they are trying to get the when they are giving the value which is not applicable for their application, then that exception is called as invalid age exception. This will be created by the user for their specific task. Okay, so class invalid age exceptions. Invalid age exception string is, so we are creating with the super method class test custom exception if the age is lesser than 18. Lesser than 18, then it is not valid. If it is greater than 18, it will be given as welcome to vote. So here the example is given for the voter age limit. When we are completed the 18, we can in the voting system. Otherwise, it is the invalid exceptions. String args validate 30 catch exceptions. Exception occurred. Rest of the code. Throw and throws keywords. The Java throw keyword is used to explicitly throw an exceptions. Throw an exception. We can throw either the checked or unchecked exception in Java by throw keyword. The throw keyword is mainly used to throw the custom exceptions. So we are finding the exceptions. We can use this keyword throw. The throw will allow both the checked and unchecked exceptions in our systems. The syntax of Java throw keyword is throw exceptions. So example for that, public class test throw static void valid date int age. If age is less than 18, throw new arithmetic exceptions. New arithmetic exceptions. That is when we are entering the value as 17 or 16, then it is not the valid input. So we can throw this exception not valid. Otherwise, welcome to vote. So public static void main in main function we are calling the method validate. We are calling the method validate I3. And then rest of the code. Throws keyword. The throws keyword is used to declare an exception. It gives an information to the programmer that there may occur an exception. So it is better for the programmer to provide an exception handling code so that normal flow can be maintained. So throw is used to inform the programmer that there may occur an exception. So it is better for the programmer to provide the exception handling. So throws keyword use the programmer themselves are created. The errors may be occur this way. So then that statements will be given as throws. Exception handling is mainly used to handle the checked exceptions. If there occurs any unchecked exception such as null pointer exception, it is the programmer's fault that is not performing checkup before the code being used. So exception handling is mainly used for checked exception. When we are occurs in the unchecked exception such as null pointer exception, it is a programmer fault. Okay, so the programmer should maintain the null pointer exception. So throws keyword handle the checked exception easily. The syntax of Java checked keyword is return type. Return type means the void or integer or anything, the value how it is going to return, method name, throws, exception class name, and then statement. So import io.java exception class test throws void method throws io exception, throw a new exception, device error, throws new error, device error. This is a checked exception. Void another method n we are creating throws the io exceptions, void p try system.out.exception accepted. So main class we are calling the throw functions. We are creating the object and calling that object normal flow. If the system is not in the error condition, it will flow the normal conditions. Two cases. Case one, you might the exception, that is handle the exception using the try catch black. Next one is declare the exception specifying the throws with the method. So we can handle the exceptions in two ways. One is try catch black. If it is, then the try with along with catch statement. Otherwise, you can specify the exceptions in the throw conditions. Handle the exceptions using try class black. I'm giving an example. Import Java. We are creating the class m. So void method throws IO exceptions, throw new IO exception, device error. Okay, so public class, I'm creating another class test throws 2. Here I am creating a class like name as m. I am here creating a test throws 2. So main function try. For m class, I am creating the m object and m dot method. In m dot method, what method will be thrown? This method will be throws. Catch the exception e. System dot out dot println exception handled. Otherwise, system will flow normally. So next one is declaring the exceptions. In case we declare the exception, if the exception does not occur, the code will be executed fine. In case we declare the exception, if the exception does not occur, the code will be executed fine. In case we declare the exception, if the exception occurs, an exception will be thrown at runtime because throws does not handle the exception. Yeah, the declaring exception, we are predicting the code when they will insert the card wrongly or when they are entered in the PIN number wrongly. You correctly inserted or the PIN number can be correctly entered, then there is no option to handle the exception, but we are predicting the code. Okay, so in that the throws function does not handle the exception. In the runtime, the throw function only handle this exceptions. So exception will not occur. I am given the example here. Important device operation performed. So I am not giving the any error messages, system error. Normal flow will be carried out. So IO exception occurs. Here device error occurs then that method will be displayed. The device will be error. So the differentiate between throw and throws. Both will throw the exception only. We have to know the differences. In throw, Java throw keyword is used explicitly through an expression. In throws keyword is used to declare the exception. So by using the throw keyword, we can explicitly give the exception. In Java, throws keyword declaring the exception. Checked exception cannot be propagated using throw only. Checked exceptions cannot be propagated using the throw. So checked exception can be we already know that the throws uses only the checked exception will be handled by the throws keyword. Unchecked errors only used by the throw keyword. Throw is followed by an instances. Throw is followed by a class because it is a checked exception. Throw is a instant, it's a runtime error, so it can create the instant. Throw is used within the method. Throw is used with the method signature. We cannot throw multiple exceptions in throw. We cannot throw multiple exceptions. We can declare multiple exceptions. For example, public void throws the IO exceptions. So exception handling, it is a mechanism to handle the runtime errors such as class not found exceptions, IO exceptions, SQL exceptions, remote exception. Should not be used for the program control. Not optimized, can harm the program performance. Improves the fault tolerance. These are all the some advantages of our exception handling. Should not be used for the program controller. We are not going to control the program. We are just going to catch our errors, exceptions. Improves fault tolerance. Easier to write the error processing code. Easy to write the error processing code. Specify what types of exceptions are to be catched. So when we are programmed, then itself we can catch the exceptions. Means when it is going to the user usage, there the fault will be reduced and the tolerance will be increased. So another way to return the control from a function or block of